Hi everyone, watch this review here with a very quick look at the Battle Network MegaMan plamo. For those of you not familiar with MegaMan Battle Network, it's a series of Mega Man RPGs originally for the GBA. Basically, they took the traditional Mega Man robots and then went digital. All the robots are actually in this little cyberspace and little devices, and they can battle against each other. They're used by human operators who provide them with battle chips, but they're sort of working on an artificial intelligence despite the fact you can actually physically control the characters. For a point of reference, let me just bring in a large Gut Soul Mega Man. Obviously, this incorporates parts of Gutsman's design. It's like the old transformations you do in the other games, but this was a Soul Union or whatever, which they introduced in later games. The coolest thing about this series was, of course, they took all the old Robot Masters and revamped their designs to give them, a more distinct appearance, because originally they were just like the same costumed guy with little attachments here and there. Which, Metal Man definitely has a much more distinct look. By the way, this is a plamo or plastic model kit, not necessarily an action figure, so the articulation is going to be a little bit wonky, just because you had to assemble it first. I think it wasn't a very difficult one. By the way, this was put out by a company called Takara. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but apparently they did a little thing called Transformers. Oh, you have heard of Transformers? Really? But yeah, originally Metal Man who premiered in Mega Man 2, looked sort of like a doctor on crack, where he'd throw around these giant buzzsaws at you, and it was just the fact that he had like this little masked portion on his face, and then this thing up here that reminded me of a doctor. But now he looks a lot more like a transformer, with this whole piece out here and everything. And they definitely incorporated a much cooler look for the character. Metal Man was, of course, a fan favorite from the original series, partly because his weapon was awesome. But you see these things over here, they are removable. They become his projectiles. See this here? Snaps in. That's why they don't really fit right. And then you just press this and hope it doesn't fly too far. Or does it pull back? There it goes. Articulation-wise, you kind of have a pretty wide and generous range of movement, but again, it just doesn't feel very sturdy. Because, like, in most cases, it's just like physical balls for these joints, so the arm can go all the way up like this, all around. We have a single joint here at the elbow, but you'll notice that's actually where you put the two pieces together, so occasionally it does have a habit of just like sort of falling out of place. The forearm also rotates. Now this was a separate piece, I believe, but it looks like you can't actually move the gear anymore. The head will do barely anything. There it goes. But it only really looks okay when it's right in front of the thing, so these blades up here are attached into slots in the back. It's kind of tough to actually snap them in, just get them to stay, because once you mess with them or fiddle, they start to fall out. The upper torso has a point of rotation. It'll also move slightly up and down, but kind of negligible. Another ball right here at the hip. Very good range of motion, but this leg falls out all the time. He also can't stand very well, just because, the hip and then this and the fact that he's pretty top heavy sort of jinxes it. But we have a single joint right here at the knee. It also rotates. And down here at the foot, all we have is, I could have sworn that rotates, but no. And that's part of the problem, the fact that you can't do anything with the ankle or feet down here. But on the whole, this was a really dynamic and pretty cool look for the character. You notice he even has like this little rocket pack or something here in the back, which is really neat. I imagine he's probably kind of hard to find these days if you're trying to pick him up, just because these model kits were only really available in Japan, so they had to be imported, and at this point it's just going to be kind of a nightmare to find him. think I paid like $20 for them originally, including shipping and handling. But for MegaMan Network, Battle Network aficionados, there were some US released actual figures, including Magnet Man and stuff, which you might want to look into. But I mean, I always liked Metal Man, and I thought this was a really cool look for him, so I had to pick this one up. And, I'm pretty happy with him, although I don't display him a ton or anything. Until next time, folks.